Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Woodin. I'll be your host, joined by my co-host, Donna Dunyan.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Donna, we're back again. We were here, 2 weeks ago? Was it something like that?
Yeah, I guess it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. We have another great show for you this evening. A group that has not been here before, and that's always nice. Actually, it's a group that the topic actually we haven't had on this show in all the years we've been doing this. Yep. And that's actually great. I mean, it's very, very informative for our veteran community. I think is what I was trying to say. It's the Connecticut Veterans Legal Center.
Correct.
Yes. And who we have with us is Darren Pruslow. Anybody that watches this show, and I'm going to say, and Donna knows this, is I destroy names every single time. So it's never any offense. It's just me.
Well, as long as I'm not late to dinner, I don't care. So.
Yeah. Darren, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
We also have Juliet Taylor. Great to have you, Juliet.
Good to be here.
Veteran?
I am an Army veteran.
Army veteran?
Of course.
Thank you for your service.
You as well.
On behalf of the viewers, the Veterans Corner crew here, we want to thank you. Thank you very much. And Darren, like we discussed earlier, for those that haven't served, and we have a lot of guests who have not served before, and we make sure that we go out of the way, really, because we need to let everyone know that you're doing stuff for the veteran community. And you're serving now, so we want to thank you. The viewers want to thank you. Once you hear what these folks do, you'll be thanking them above and beyond. Is what I'm trying. There's times when we get on the show here, and the mouth and the brain just aren't on the same page.
They're not.
This
connecting.
might be one of those nights. I can see it already. So, with that being said, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Who wants to go first?
Juliet?
Sure, I go first. Juliet Taylor, U.S. Army veteran.
Yeah.
Served in combat as well in Iraq, and also served stateside. I think my last assignment was my favorite assignment. I was facility manager for Arlington Cemetery in Virginia, and managed the Old Post Chapel and the Memorial Chapel in Washington, D.C. So I had a great time.
Near Arlington?
It is Arlington,
that is
actually.
Arlington?
It is the chapel that manages all the caissons, the funerals at Arlington Cemetery. So that was a great assignment, actually.
Honor.
Yeah, so, and got home and kind of settled, trying to figure out what to do, and went back to school and figure out I'll look for an internship. End up at the Connecticut Veteran Legal Center, and they loved me and kept me there. Yeah. So I've been there for about 3 years now, and I enjoy it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Darren.
Yeah, so my name is Darren Pruslow. I am a supervising attorney at the Veterans Legal Center. I have been there for over 10 years now. I'm a late to law lawyer. I have a background as an educator as well, so I've been teaching, doing public interest work for quite a few years now. I don't like to think it's been that long, but it's been that long. But
Time flies.
10 years here with the CVLC, which has been great. And my focus as a lawyer is mostly on civil work. So if you think about not knowing lawyers, which I hope you don't, right? There's civil work and there's criminal work. We do mostly civil. Yeah. And most of my career has been doing civil work.
It is. So I tell you, this is going to be a great show, very informative. I can tell right now that this might be one of those shows when we could bring back for a 2-part series.
Yeah, we can bring it back.
What does the Connecticut Veterans Legal Center do?
Sure. So for those not familiar with lawyers, the CVLC is a legal services for veterans. So there are other organizations in the state that do legal services for mostly based on geography. Ours is we cover the whole state, but we cover veterans. Yeah. Our focus is on veterans dealing with recovery and with sorts of civil legal issues, either due to housing or to income, and helping them rebuild when they fall. So we're picking them up or hopefully preventing them from falling in the first place if we can. The other big thing about what we do that is different is that we're a medical legal partnership. So most of our clients are coming to us from the VA. So a VA clinician hears their client talking about a problem that they're having. They're like, you know what, this isn't just a you problem. This is actually a legal problem we're going to make a referral to the CVLC and they can help you deal with this eviction, this debt issue, trying to get your benefits squared away, which could probably be a week-long discussion about the problems of getting your VA benefits squared away. And these are the challenges that our veterans are dealing with, and we are here to deal with the legal piece and let the clinicians deal with the treatment, the health care, and the other challenges that go with it.
Yeah, that's
That's a big thing. I know, Juliet, you said you've been there for 3 years.
Yes.
What drew you to CVLC?
I think initially it was education. You know, of course, I started as an intern. And I think what kept me there is the work with veterans. I was really floored at what I see there. Because normally a veteran, we get out of the military, you know. Many of us may or may not go to the VA, but there are other issues. And one of the issues I personally had was I couldn't find a place to live because I've been gone for so long. And so I had no credibility. So when I try to find a place to rent, you have no credit.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the light turned on in my name, couldn't get the water, the gas turned on in my name.
one established.
I
You're-
wasn't
yeah, you
established.
don't have
I've
a
been
history.
gone for so
Oh.
long. And so I needed some place. So I had that struggle, and I eventually found friends and collaborated with other agencies. But then when I started my intern work at CVLC, I realized there were veterans who had no idea that things were happening, you know, that there was a place like CVLC that you can talk to an attorney, and you may not become a client, but veterans come in, they had questions. And so and actually, let me go back a little bit. So my internship was for mental health.
Okay.
So I graduated from the University of Bridgeport with a mental health master's degree.
Okay.
And so even though it's a legal center, like Darren says, a medical legal partnership, these are veterans who either 100% diagnosed with or are undiagnosed with a mental health issues. Mm-hmm. So to ask the questions and to figure out what to do, you need an attorney. And so I felt like I had something to provide, something to give with my background as a veteran, a combat veteran, and having the need for legal issues. And there were so many gaps in the system. Mm-hmm. So CVLC really provided kind of a wraparound service outside of the healthcare. And so it kind of drew me to stay there. So after my internship, I didn't even bother to look anywhere else. I was offered the position and I stayed there.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Darren, how long have you been with CVLC?
I'm in my 11th year now.
Oh, wow.
I was drawn to the CVLC partially because of its model of a medical legal partnership. Mm-hmm. So having done some legal services work or helping people on the edges of poverty before, when people are going through a divorce or they're facing eviction, civilians have even less resources than some of our veterans do, and knowing where to go and what to do, and not having, right, being evicted is traumatic. It is a traumatic experience, right?
Yeah.
Losing access to your health care, dealing with some of the challenges you're facing with, they are traumatic experiences. And I can deal with the law, but I can't deal with the mental health piece, right? Even if I think I can, I shouldn't, and I should leave it to trained professionals, right? So knowing that a holistic solution is really important for progress, right? Yeah. It's not just securing the housing, but having the income so you can maintain the housing and the treatment so when you do slip, you don't fall as far the next time, and you can be integrated in your community. And for VA Connecticut, which may not have as much experience with, their mental health programs are really community-based.
Yeah.
And from talking to people who do similar work in other states, you do hear that Connecticut is doing some things better when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
The housing programs, we tend to meet the federal guidelines for ending chronic homelessness, in part due to the benefit of all the groups in the state working for veterans. It's not one group, but I think kind of on the size of Connecticut and other pieces, we've really done things correctly. And I think we're part of the solution of people are still facing homelessness, but getting through the system is hopefully faster and more resources when they're coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What kind of cases? I think you take a few different types of cases, right? What kind of cases do you normally take?
So generally speaking, we're a civil legal aid, so we do civil cases. So it's easier what we don't do. We don't do criminal law, first and foremost. But when it comes to civil, we look at the civil issues that, one, there's not usually representation there. So we try not to duplicate services. So if you are someone who is like, oh, I need to get Social Security disability, there is a whole bar that has a planning of doing and figuring out how to make that work. We're not going to duplicate those services. But if they're cutting off your SSD, no one's going to do that because there's no money there. So that's the kind of case we do. There's no money in defending evictions, right? Because if you're being evicted, often it's for you lost your job for a few weeks.
You don't have
You're
the
dealing with
money.
You don't have the money.
Yeah.
So you can't pony up money to then get an attorney to go to court with you. Where the landlord almost always has an attorney. So it's in those cases where we know representation matters, it makes a difference, and there is no question that having an attorney going with you to housing court, dealing with debt issues, challenging debt defense, and even more importantly, we do a lot of work. It's not my primary focus, but I have 3 or 4 attorneys in my office, and their primary focus is just VA benefits, helping clients navigate the more complicated VA benefit and discharge upgrade cases. We have victims of sexual assault who end up getting a bad discharge, oftentimes when it's nothing that they did. It's what actually happened to them, but command will have them come out, and then with their bad discharge, they're not getting the health care that they need or the other access, right? Even with a general, there are key benefits you're not able to access, even though sometimes it wasn't anything they did that caused them to get discharged. So it's kind of looking at all those pieces, and they're all connected, right? Your discharge status determines sometimes what you can get for educational resources and other pieces. So it really, coming in as a civilian, I never realized how much was there. But being here 10 years, I feel I've crossed the bridge, so to speak, and I'm on the lingo side of things with the acronyms and all those pieces, which is a sharp learning curve for attorneys who've not practiced or are not a veteran to understand all the, what do you mean a DD-214? What does that all mean? Why does that one line actually matter? And it matters a lot.
If you don't receive an honorable or close to it, I mean, there's a lot of veterans who served all 4 years active duty or longer and received an other than honorable. They're not by
eligible.
law or you know,
Yeah,
eligible
by law.
for anything.
They're not eligible for a lot of the services.
Yeah.
Even if it's dishonorable, they can't even get health care services. So
And then there are some that they were denied a couple of years ago, and now policies changed and laws changed. So now you probably would need an attorney to go back and help you reopen and file to dispute those denials.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know you touched on this. There's no cost to the veterans.
No, there's no cost to the veteran. So it's not a free service, but it's free for veterans. There's no cost. Veterans doesn't pay for our services at all. Yeah.
And there's a lot of expense to doing this work, but that's why we have resources for that. But for the veteran coming in the door, we're not taking a cut of anything if they get back pay from VA benefits.
It
is a legal services, so it's designed to benefit the veterans 100%.
Okay. Nice. So then, here's the big burning question: how is it funded?
Right. So up until recently, the VA has been extremely generous, but one of the things they did not fund was legal services. If you are homeless, right, if you know the challenge survey they do every year where they reach out to homeless veteran and service partners around the state, housing was never on that list, right, except maybe for sex offenders, right? That's one area that's a problem. But top of those top 10, 7 or 8 are usually legal issues, dealing with child support, be able to clear up credit, other financial issues and housing issues that are legal and not service-based. So the VA has a service down. A year or two ago, they finally started getting some funding, but it's through a grant. So we get some grants, a little bit from the VA, some from the state. We do a lot of fundraising, right? And there is some money from the state as well for any legal services. So between those 3 revenue sources and general donations, right, that's how we fund the work that we do. So the veterans who need the legal services don't have to worry about the cost. And it's our generous donors and grants that make that happen.
Absolutely.
And I'd be remiss not to saying we have one of our big fundraisers coming up in a couple of weeks. We do an event in New Haven every fall, and we do the Ride for Vets in the spring. It'll be June this year, just the weekend before Father's Day, where people come out across the street and they do either 10, 25, 50, or a metric 100, right, around the state, and they raise money for the work that we do, sometimes in honor of veterans. Veterans do it themselves. And it's really one of our big bringing people together and celebrating the work that we do, and also raising some support. And thanks to a lot of generous funders, we can do that.
Now, when is that this year?
It's going to be June 15th, the Saturday of Father's Day weekend.
Yes.
June
Hopefully-
15th.
I believe that's
And,
right.
and for the viewers, we have to make sure because sometimes they rebroadcast this.
That's
It's
right.
2024.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
We've actually had shows in the past where we've given dates and people have gone, not realizing that was broadcasted last year.
Yeah.
And they're wondering where everybody is.
Right. I mean, we usually do it every year on the same. It's usually the Saturday before Father's Day. And if you go to our website, if you feel like it, ctveteranslegal.org, there's information there about all the work that we do as well as about the ride and how to get involved.
We'll see if we can get that flashed on the screen.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I made sure they had it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, do you also have pro bono partners throughout the state?
That's part of our service model. So we've been here for almost 15 years. When I first started, we were 4 attorneys in a broom closet in the Arena Community Care Center. And I would spend most of my time waiting for people who worked at the VA to go into the field so I can use their desk. Now we have spaces at Newington Hospital, the West Haven Rear Community Care Center, as well as the CRRC. So one's actually in West Haven, one's in Orange, where we have permanent space. We have a little spot up in New London as well. So we cover the whole state. But even with now probably upwards of 10 or 11 attorneys, there are still more cases than we can do.
I can imagine.
So we have a lot of attorneys, veterans and non-veterans, who are happy and willing to volunteer. So even though I have a team of 5 who's doing housing cases and debt cases, we're still giving cases to attorneys around the state where they will step in and take a one-off case
Okay.
and to help a veteran get out of a bind. So it really expands our capacity. Connecticut is not the biggest state, but it's still getting from Stanford to the other end is not a challenge.
Yeah,
It's a
it
challenge.
is.
Absolutely.
You know, it's nice that shows like this, designed the way we designed it to get the word out.
Yeah.
It's hopefully this show here brings light to more veterans out there, letting them know what's available to them.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you hear it all the time. Well, I didn't know.
Didn't know.
we could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I had an avenue to go to
Yeah.
to seek help.
Absolutely.
And once shows like this show here goes on YouTube, you can take that and put it on your website.
That's great. That's great. You're absolutely right. Yesterday, I did some work in the community in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
There, I met people who didn't know about us in West Haven.
Big veterans community in
Yeah.
Bridgeport.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
It's sort of, you don't know you need it till you need it.
Right.
And oftentimes you don't think to ask or know what the options are. Legal services in general, people don't know what legal services
right.
Right.
does, right? It's like, oh, what's legal aid, right? What is, until you're facing that problem or knowing it.
When you're facing that problem, you're not thinking straight, and you don't know. You probably and some probably go into panic mode.
Yeah.
And they don't know, what's out there. I mean,
Yeah.
Donna with the Veteran Strong Community Center. Do you have their information?
Oh, of course I have their information.
Well,
We
I
were
didn't
talking.
know.
We were talking earlier about. I went down there probably 12 years ago when they were in the little broom closet and met Margaret Middleton, who was the founder
An executive director. at the
and
time.
executive director at the time. And it was literally a closet. There was maybe 2 desks in it, and that was it.
That's
So
great.
it's-
That's great that you have a history with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
I always refer people down there all the time.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. If I'm a veteran who needs help, what happens when I come in? Can I self-refer?
So it's a referral system.
Yeah.
We do get walk-in and drop-ins. So if someone walks in off the street, I'm not going to say go get a referral. Of course not. So I will talk to them, find out, get basic information. Where did you serve? Just get some kind of a proof that you are actually a veteran. If you don't have a DD-214, which is the separation document that you prove that you serve in the military, we'll help you get that as well. But I'll get all your information, do a screening, find out what's going on, and then really see if you do you need legal or do you need to be connected to a case management or social work. So many of them coming in there, it's not really a legal issue yet, but could be. But if there's a housing issue, that's priority. So kind of just pyramid what's going on and deal with that first. But definitely, no one really walk in and then walk out without an answer about what's the next best step for you.
Now, we've talked a lot here. I'm going to ask a question. Maybe we've already covered it. When they come in, is it honorable discharges only? Because we were talking about that earlier. It could be dishonorable, or as long as they served.
As long as they serve, because if it's a dishonorable discharge, we find out what happened, what led to your discharge. We do have an attorney that also will deal with some of those issues. So we find out what happened and see if there's room for an upgrade. Then there's several ways to get benefits as well. And you may not be able to get VA benefit, but I could probably send you to Donna or a vet center. So there's always a way to find something. And if there's nothing, I'm very honest. I'm so sorry. This is not something we can do. But what else can I help you with? What else is going on with you right now?
It's nice to let the viewers know this.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have gotten dishonorables or other than honorables,
Right.
they think that there's no chance.
Yeah.
There is a chance.
There is a chance.
Yeah.
There is a
Talk to-
chance.
talk to someone
Never,
about it.
Talk to
never
someone.
just assume that help is not out there for you.
Right.
Right. And I mean, and the VA has changed their policy when it comes to discharges in regards to housing programs. So if you are a veteran who is facing homelessness, right, as long as you do not have a dishonorable discharge by a general court martial, you are eligible to be a housing programs, right?
Yeah.
There are beds. You do not need to be homeless. They have the outreach resources there. 211, when you call and you say you're a veteran, gets directed to either West Haven or Newington.
Right.
Right. We've been seeing a lot more veterans recently because of the right to counsel law that passed 2 years ago, which is still a pilot program, but our organization is covering veterans across the state.
Right.
So now when veterans get a notice to quit, the first document, usually a summary process action, eviction, it says, please call here if you need
Right.
legal services, and that gets to our organization.
Right.
So we are seeing more people from other parts of the state we haven't seen in the past because that is now required by statute when you're being evicted. That has to be with that
We've
paperwork.
only got about 2 minutes left. These shows go by fast.
Yeah.
Real fast. Real fast. I mean, where can someone go to learn more? The website, right?
Yeah, the website, definitely on there will be information, some self-help resources, but also how to contact, to make a referral, speak to the screening team,
Yep.
see what's going on with the organization, whether it's the ride or needing legal services. It's a spot for attorneys who are pro bonos that want to volunteer, how they can get involved. It's a big umbrella. Well,
Yeah,
we welcome
I'm
all.
sure if you want to give it, I'm doing this on my ctveteranslegal.org.
Correct.
That's right.
I'm sure
it.
that will be flashed up on the screen also.
Yeah.
You want to get the last one? We got about a minute left.
Oh, well, one question that came to mind, I know we're talking about veterans, and one of the things we've touched on this show is National Guardsmen. So if they don't have Title X orders, can they utilize the services at Connecticut Veterans Legal Center?
There are some services they can get. National
Okay.
Guard are reserved. They can, this is what I say, come in, call, find out. Because just because you're National Guard, you may have a deployment, you may not have a deployment.
Right.
We'll find out what's your next best step. What can we help you with? Where can we point you for some resources?
Okay, good.
Yes.
That's good, because
Great.
I run into that a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's
That's it.
another. These shows go by so fast when you get into them.
Yeah.
They just fly by. Another show that we would love to have you guys back. Maybe do a
Anytime.
double header.
That's great.
Sure.
Anytime.
2-part series.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
With that being said, thank you.
Thank
Thank you for your time.
It was
Thank
an
you for what
absolute
you're doing.
pleasure and an honor to have you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna, with that being said, I think we're down to 294 now, going on 295. We're almost at 300 episodes.
Yay.
We're almost there.
Party.
With that being said, we want to thank the viewers for watching. Till the next time on the Veterans Corner. Good night.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.